Check your clocks, Italian timers. We're back today to discuss all the meanings of come or quanto or how. How do you make these translations in Italian? Let's start right away. So how could be translated sometimes as come, sometimes as quanto. Come itself has so many different meanings. We're going to unpack all of that, starting with if you say what, if you don't understand something, you could say come. You could also say cosa or che cosa, but honestly, maybe the most common way is to say I don't know if this is only in Rome, but I promise most Italians, instead of saying come in this sweet, polite way, maybe they'll be like kind of seems like in an angry way, like So that's maybe the most common way to say what. Let's move on to what about with quantities and also lengths of time. So in this case, we're going to use quanto or quanta or quante e quanti. So yes, you have to do the agreement. So for example, how would you say how many people? Let's use gente. So you guys know gente is singular and feminine. So how would you say how many people? Pause the video. 3, 2, 1. So you could say quanta gente. As I said, it's feminine and singular, so that's why we want to make this quanta with an A. What about what about how many people if we use persone? What do you guys think? Remember to focus on agreement. 3, 2, 1. So this time it's going to be quante persone. Again, it's feminine, but this time it's plural. Persona becomes persone, so quante persone. These have similar meanings. There's just two ways to say people in Italian. What about how long did you say? So how long? Does that change anything? What do you guys think? 3, 2, 1. So how long, the length of time, there's no lungo in Italian, they just use quanto. Quanto is a great word for quantity, so you can just say quanto sei restato. So how long did you say? And yes, restare is probably the best way to say stay or remain, which of course it takes essere, so quanto sei restato. And again, another relatively difficult, what about how long does it take? Only 3 words in this answer. 3, 2, 1. So this one's going to be quanto ci vuole. Remember, volerci, the verbo pronominale, means talking about time. So how long? So quanto ci vuole. When it's plural, like if you say it takes 30 seconds, you say ci vogliono 30 secondi. And last, how many of them are there? This is a challenge. If you get this, excellent job. What do you guys think? 3, 2, 1. So this time it's going to be quanti ce ne sono. Given that it's masculine, if it's all feminine, if we say how many girls are there, you could say quante ce ne sono. And notice that I didn't actually say the object. That's why we have to say ne, because that represents of them. So if I say how many girls are there, I could say quante ragazze ci sono. But if we're already talking about girls and someone says how many of them are there, you could say quante ce ne sono. Or if it's masculine, quanti ce ne sono. So that's the ne in this case. So moving on, also as like the exclamation in Italian, this is super common. I know in English we don't use it too often, but they'll be like, wow, how nice, che bello. So in English we say how, but do you know how to say it in Italian? So what about how good this pie? Not natural in English, but in Italian, supernatural. 3, 2, 1. So this one would be che buona questa torta. So when you make these exclamations, you're going to use che, and then you could just add the adjective right after. So che buona questa torta. What about how sweet? This one's pretty easy. 3, 2, 1. Very similar. How sweet will be che dolce. What about how beautiful are you? Notice the question. This is a common way to say like, you are so beautiful, but they form it into a question. So we're measuring a quantity. So how would you say that? 3, 2, 1. So this one's going to be ma quanto sei bella. So again, with questions, I always like to start it with ma and then quanto, because we're measuring, literally measuring like, how beautiful are you? Quanto sei bello. So it goes back to this quantity up here, even though it's kind of an exclamation like ma quanto sei bello, something like that. Last but not least, what about look how cute he is? Don't forget the look part. 3, 2, 1. So this time we're going to say guarda quant'è carino. So sometimes the O on Quanto can be sliced off and you put the next vowel instantly, which is is in this case. So guarda quante carino. Look how cute he is. Again, it's kind of like a measurement, like how cute. So look how cute he is. Guarda quante carino. All right. Let's go on to the most simple classic meaning of how, which is like in what way. So I'm going to go a little bit faster here. What about how do you say that in Italian? Of course, it's come si dice. That's another meaning of come. Or how do you know? This one's a little bit more of a challenge. Pause the video. 3, 2, 1. So this time it's come fai a saperlo. So they don't just say like come lo sai. You have to say come fai a saperlo. So if you say how do you do that, or how do you read this, or how do you cook, it's come fai a cucinare, come fai a leggere, come fai a saperlo. So they add that fare verb, like how do you do to know it, instead of just saying how do you know. Then the last example here is that's how he wants us to do it. Difficult construction here. Do you know? 3, 2, 1. So here I would say è come vuole che noi lo facciamo. So that's how, like è come. So again, we don't need the subject here. We can take that off. So è come vuole, he wants. You don't immediately put this object here. It will be vuole che, and then you conjugate the verb after. So è come vuole che noi lo facciamo. You don't really need the noi. So è come vuole che lo facciamo. That's how he wants us to do it. Let's continue on. Another one, there's 2 more, guys. Stick with me. The next one is saying like or as. Okay, so for example, he acts like a kid. How would you say that one in Italian? 3, 2, 1. So here I would say si comporta come un bambino. So act is comportarsi. Again, that's reflexive. So si comporta like un bambino. He acts like a kid. What about I look like a dragon? I don't know when you're going to need to say that. That's why I put the smiley face. But how do you say I look like a dragon in Italian? 3, 2, 1. So that one's going to be sembro un drago. So it's weird because instead of saying I look like, which doesn't exist in Italian, they just say I seem a dragon. So I tricked you there because there's no come in the sentence, but sembro un drago. So if you're saying like you look like a squirrel, you could say sembri uno scoiattolo. So anytime we say you look like, in Italian they say sembrare. You look tired, sembri stanco. You don't say guardi stanco. Last but not least, it's just like driving a car. What do you guys think about that one? 3, 2, 1. So here we'll say è esattamente. It's just like, it's exactly like. This just really means like esattamente. È esattamente come guidare una macchina. So just when you say like, comparing things, a simile, I guess, you can use come. Which brings me to the last point of come, which is when you make a comparison. For example, how could you say, I'm as tall as my dad? Pause the video. 3, 2, 1. So you could probably say this in 2 ways, but the simpler one is sono alto come mio papà. The other one is sono così alto come mio papà. But you don't really need to say così. You can, but why not just say sono alto come mio papà? I'm tall as my dad. Last example, you're not as smart as him. You guys can use the same construction here. So what do you think? 3, 2, 1. So here we would say non sei intelligente come lui, or yes, you could also say non sei così intelligente come lui, like this. Both of these literally mean the same thing. I guess this first one's easier. Non sei intelligente come lui. You're not smart like him, or as smart as him. So that's it, unless I'm forgetting something. But we already did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different meanings of come, quanto, how. So I hope you guys learned something. And you guys really need to come. You need to. It's an obligation. You have to come to our Patreon page and check out Italian Breeze. I promise it's the most fun you'll have listening to an hour-long podcast in Italian. So if you're learning Italian, it's great practice and you guys will really enjoy it. That's it for today's video. I will catch you guys next time. Ciao e peace.